Werribee, a stacked lineup. All of their state game representatives are playing today. And we're set to go. It's Conway versus Naismith in the ruck. And the Battle of the Tigers is underway. First pick up by Henderson. He'll get the handball received from DeClace. And it's gone short, but it's been turned over. And this is Lachlan Wilson who's got it for Richmond. Going wider. He's wearing the clash strip today, the VFL Tigers. Of the Richmond variety anyway, as the kick goes inside 50. Tall timber, great mark taken by Samson Ryan.
Yeah, good start by Samson Ryan. He played a terrific game last week, I felt, particularly in the forward line. He presents well. He's got some good forward craft for a man of his size.
Kicked 3 goals last week in that win over Sydney at the Swinburne Centre. Chance to line up for his first this afternoon. Not a breath of wind here at Avalon Airport Oval. Magnificent conditions for footy and a good crowd in as well. From 55, set sail for home. It's going to drop short off hands right to the line. Doing his best to try and hang on there was Archie May, that 23rd player for Richmond. Had 2 Werribee players to contend with. We'll have it thrown in.
Probably a good result, this one, for Richmond. Werribee would have liked to have killed that ball and got the ball back from a kick in, but now they've still got an opportunity to score here, the Tigers. The Richmond Tigers.
Tigers, that's right. Well, you feel you're on safe ground if you say the word Tiger, as DeClace goes around the body, looking to clear the 50, and solid mark. That's nicely done. Jack Riding, who's getting some regular senior minutes, and he'll get 50 metres as well here. And wants to get on with it pretty quickly. We'll see how quickly this team can score. We saw it last season. Once they get a bit of a roll on, the ball goes wide. DeClace again. 20 disposals in the state game last week. His kick towards the pocket is good. Grintel's got it. And he wants to get on with it quickly as well. Just going to put it to the top of the square. Garoni at the back. They just had the numbers. And Hayes doing the job. He takes the mark.
He's in good form, Nick Hayes. Took 11 marks versus Southport in their last game up there in Queensland.
28 disposals alongside that as well.
For a guy of his size is just exceptional.
Big season coming up, you feel, for Nick Hayes. And the first on the board for the Tigers of the Werribee variety. Early stage of this one, Werribee, their 2-0 start to the season, had a really strong win over Geelong in round number 1, and there was no sort of, talk about premiership hangover, none of that sort of stuff, and then squeaked home against Southport up there, 62-59 for the Tigers. They beat the Gold Coast Suns, 76-53, and then a good win against the Swans, 84-72.
Well, that Werribee win against Southport. That Werribee win against Southport last week was an excellent win, simply because Southport, I feel, have strengthened their list over the summer. They identified some weaknesses and they brought in 3 or 4 really strong bodies into that side. So a good win for Werribee away from their home ground.
So driving in today too, Dan, going through the main street. All the Werribee colours there. They are back in town in a big way. Cumberland trying to come through here for Richmond. Lost a handle on the footy. Olden at the bottom of the pack, and the ball will be tossed up.
Well, they do get behind their footy club, don't they, the Werribee community?
They absolutely do. Mark Penalina, the CEO, does a magnificent job just integrating the football club into the community at all levels. Naismith's going to get a free kick. At centre half forward, looking for Ryan again. He's being held. No call from the umpire. Interesting, as this ball heads in the direction of Cooper White. And what a good pickup Cooper White is for this Werribee side. The former Cats. He'll go short. Pavlidis, speaking of good recruits. Ex-Giants. Goes back to Coughlin, the captain. And he goes further afield, and they'll be able to build from here. Clark with that short ball. It's a little bit of tempo footy, and over the mark, Henderson will take 50 metres. Perhaps a little bit unlucky there, Matthew Coulthard, but it was there.
Yeah, so we haven't even gone 5 minutes here, and there's been 2 50-metre penalties against Richmond. So they'll need to have a chat about that at quarter time.
So they're red hot on it early. They're setting the tone. State squad representative last week, Jack Henderson. And a chance at his first with no breeze to speak of, just inside the 50. That looks good too. Setting the tone early, Werribee, the early stages of this one.
So 2 forward entries for 2 goals. And both starting on the back of 50-metre penalties given away in their forward area by Richmond. But what we saw prior to that is Werribee's ability to spread the ground. They do like to switch the play. Generally, their use by foot is excellent. And on a day like today, where there's no weather going to get in the way, hardly a breath of wind here, and we don't expect any rain, we should be seeing a little bit more of that from Werribee today.
Tell you, I talk about the colours coming in, the Werribee colours as I drove in today, but then I found the local newspaper, wrap around of the club. I've got the season guide in front of me too. We're all sorted here, Dan.
We are.
All things Werribee, and they've got the footy again. Andrews heading up towards half forward. This one going a little bit wider, but the skill's superb from Cooper White again. And as soon as I said that, Dan, I do apologise, Cooper.
The commentator's curse.
So this is Taz Al-Noor, who's in as vice-captain for season 2024 for Richmond.
He's got a big job today. Looks like he's lining up on Hudson Garoni, the goal kicker for Werribee.
Ball off hands. Here's Hayes working it across. Bice back to Pavlidis. His kick high up and under. White off again. How did he clutch that? Had a couple of opponents around him. He said, no problems. Kick inside 50, and I've done it again. Straight to Al-Noor.
He'll be disappointed, Cooper White, because that's 2 in a row. He needs to be better by foot.
Here's Smith. Up the line, kick is good. Here's Liam George.
Showed some tricks last week, did Liam George, in his debut game.
One of a number of recruits for Richmond in the side this afternoon. In the off-season, here's Tom Brindley. Not one of those. Now stuck for options, so they're just going to go short kick and wide. And that going to Will Bravo. And he looks up and doesn't see a hell of a lot that he likes. Werribee, got a spare player up ahead. So just have to kick to the pack. But this might work out okay because Oldham got hands to it. They work it back. Oh, that's just been stolen. You don't get it past Kai de Clace all that often. The kick in the Garoni direction. Al-Noor doing a good job. Ball spilling towards the line. Here's Bravo again, and the umpire will toss it in.
Well, sometimes with Noah Cumberland, you get the unusual, don't you? So if you get to see that highlight, or low light.
The ball wasn't talking for him. So have it tossed in. Early advantage to Werribee in the Battle of the Tigers. De Clace again, wrapped up. And we'll stop. Both sides 2-0 heading into this one. Pinnock only major real injury concern from a first team Werribee perspective. As Clark was pushed off his kick, no call from the umpire. They just dribble it up towards centre half forward. And there's plenty of Richmond numbers here as they try and work it out. Smith was involved in the chain. The turnovers happened again. Here's Keast, who goes with a worm burner inside 50. Not the best of options, and it's been turned over. And it's in the hands of Chad Harris. Making a return to the VFL. Streets, the captain again. Coming through there, Maluau trying to affect the spoil. Did a good job first and second efforts. This is going to spill in the Andrews direction. Back to Maluau. They get some run here, Werribee, as the kick goes inside 50. Grintel fell over at the crucial moment. Ball at the back. Here's Brindley. Just stuck for options. Al-Noor. Handball over the top. Guinea will go over his head to Nathan. Now they should be able to get some clearance happening here. Nope, it's only going to be temporary. A touch footy, and we're going to have another stoppage. They just can't get it forward of centre at the moment, Dan.
No, they can't. But when you've got interceptors like Malual, who I really like as a player, not only is he good intercepting in the air, but he's lightning quick on the ground, quick to recover.
Trying to create some space was Hayes. Here's Henderson. Kick is good. And Keast has got it. A bit too far out to score, you would feel, despite the lack of breeze. Kick to the pocket. Oh, they've got some nice space here. And that's nicely done. Grintel again. Another shot from the opposite pocket. So Harry Grintel will go around on the angle. Chance at the third here for the Tigers. And does he bring it back enough?
Oh.
No, almost. Almost. Just need a little bit more bend at the crucial moments. Came back a long way though. Through for the behind as this ball to be brought back in by Chad Harris. He'll take his full measure. Over the back here, May trying to create the contest. Keast at the bottom of the pack, trying to bullock his way through. Going absolutely nowhere, and we'll have it tossed up again.
Yeah, Sam Conway, number 50, the big ruckman for Werribee, just didn't hold that mark, but he's a little rusty coming back from injury. Didn't play at all in 2023 after suffering a nasty pre-season injury.
It's a good challenge against Sammy Naismith today. Keast again. Some early touches in this opening quarter. That kick, not a bad one. And he spilt what he should have taken there, Dalhouse, in the end, but he's right in the pocket. Chance to steer this home. It's across the face. That would have been a Smithy snag.
I felt he should have just tried to centre that any way possible. I know he was on his wrong side there, but Jack Henderson was waiting about 15 metres out from goal. If he just had got the ball in the air, I think they would have had an opportunity to score there, Werribee.
So wait for this ball to come in. Looks like it's Aiden Johnson doing the ruck work for Werribee. And I'll try and get something happening here as Bravo, teammate over the top. Now the kick up to centre wing. This has been the problem for him. Here's Davidson having his first go for the Tigers, trying to put in the fist. Maluau is there. Works back, off a step Conway, up towards the 50. No mark taken. Harris is there, just trying to clear the area as best he can. All over the top. Guinea is there. They're going to do this by handball. They need an option here at half forward. They're not going to get one. Am I getting hands to it? What's the handle on it? In fact, it was Coughlin, the skipper. Ball on that outer side. Coughlin got it again. And now the kick going inside 50 is a good one. They've worked this out nicely, although they want to be a little bit careful. Dalhouse has got it. Now he's run himself into trouble. That's not 15. DeClace, good user of the footy usually, and he's turned the footy over. Brindley takes the mark. So he goes across the field of play. That wasn't the best option either, and we'll have the ball tossed in.
No, it wasn't. It was a good intercept mark by Tom Brindley. He's a mobile, versatile tall who can take an intercept mark, but he probably just needed to wait for the right option to present then.
Well, it was almost a matter of Aiden Johnson taking that mark and just going back and having the shot. He was so quick to want to get it. I'm looking around, seeing what danger was there. Samson Ryan doing the ruck work for Richmond. There's this kick off a step from Hicks all the way to the line. They're doing all the attacking, but they can't make a play on the scoreboard. Brindley takes another mark.
Once again, that kick just needed to be a little bit more central to give his forwards an opportunity.
So a long ball outside 50. This is May, who's again trying to just cause some trouble in the pack. Payer looking to get away, but it's going to be a Richmond free kick. And we'll go to that player, Archie May, 23rd player today. Richmond kick up the line, looking for Davidson, who went one-handed there. Coughlin at the back. Ball spilling free. They're going to work with Cooper. No, boundary line wins out. We'll have it tossed in.
Yes, so Sam Davidson, he is a mature age player because he is 22 years of age, playing against a big body in Nathan Cooper and potentially Nick Coughlin. So he's going to have his hands full, just worked under the ball there by Nick Coughlin. So he's just going to have to stand his ground and be able to back his body back into the big Werribee defender's body.
Doing the ruck work again as Bravo kick inside 50. Davidson off hands. There's a Jang who goes with a little short ball. Just taken, bundled over as he kicked that footy. And we got ourselves another stoppage.
And that was actually better. He held his ground. He was able to push back into the Werribee defender and bring the ball to the front of the ground.
There's off a step. Here is Smith with a high ball. Trying to claim the mark. Umpire said touch, and fair enough too. Ball on the deck. Coghlan trying to extract it. No one going anywhere. There's a push out. It's going to be a Richmond free kick. After they all untangle themselves, a little bit of push and shove going on as well. Nothing really to write home about. Noah Cumberland will have the shot at goal.
This will be a good one for his confidence, Noah Cumberland, albeit from a free kick, but he was really quiet against Sydney last week. He looked a little frustrated, maybe as if he copped a couple of knocks during that game. Surely he'd be disappointed not to be in senior contention at the moment. So if he can put this one through, might be good for his confidence.
Here he goes. Oh, no, didn't look like it. Kicked 2 goals in the opening round in their win over the Suns, Noah Cumberland.
Well, that's his bread and butter, isn't it? A forward who plays predominantly in the 50. That's how he earns a living, so he's just got to kick those.
So Coghlan to bring the footy back into play. First score on the board for Richmond. And that's a good kick.
They do this often, Werribee. They like to go up the middle of the ground from their kick-ins.
Former Williamstown player Preston, and the ball's been chopped off. Olden goes over the top. The debutant, Davidson, who's got it, and just getting some instructions from Cumberland just to say, go back and have the shots. And I look over at the flagpoles on the outer side of the ground, Dan, and I see they're not moving. They've either been tied down or there's no wind, and I think it's the latter.
Unlike Augusta National.
Yes. A little bit windy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Round number 2. So Sam Davidson from 50. Looks okay off the boots. Hasn't quite got the trip. They're under all sorts of pressure now. Werribee players. And the umpire will come in and toss the ball up. He's doing a good job just to trap that ball. There's Conway sprinting down to take this ruck contest. They need to be careful, and they do rush it through.
I was talking about that kick-in before. Werribee like to get all their players to both sides of the ground and leave 2 in the middle, and then they'll kick it straight down the guts to those 2 just sitting there by themselves. Not on this occasion, though.
No, as Coghlan will go wider. Spot the play, but it just took off there. Brindley, the recipient, to Bravo. It's around a couple, puts the ball in space. Good tackling pressure, though, from the Tigers, holding the footy. The Tigers of the Werribee variety. Boy, that's going to get confusing today. So the ball in the hands of Angus Hicks. Goes a little bit wider. And now they'll just share it around. Coghlan again. Cooper. Things down as we head towards time on in this opening quarter. Flurry from Werribee in the early stages, but just being pegged back a little bit. On the Johnson direction, flying was Fenley. Smith going around the body towards centre half forward, or towards half forward, I should say. And Davidson again, who's done some good things, putting the pressure on the Werribee defenders. Stage it was against Jesse Clark. Have another go right to the top of the goal square. May flying again for Richmond, and again behind the results.
Well, they've worked their way back into this game, and one of the reasons they've done that, Richmond, is they haven't allowed Werribee to just switch the ball at every opportunity.
Yep, so now they're going to come straight back in again. The kick is good. And guess who? He's everywhere inside 50 at the moment, Davidson. Let's see what he can do this time from the other side of the ground.
Is this his 3rd shot at goal?
Yes.
He's got the Russell Morris haircut. But he's been prominent, hasn't he? But what they've done well here, Richmond, is they've also defended the kick-in really well in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Been able to get the ball back off Werribee.
Let's see what he can do from this side. Out the same range as where he was before, but he's missed again. So up to 4 behinds for Richmond. 2-1-13, Werribee. Heading to time on in quarter number 1. Coghlan looking for Payer. He's the player over the back. He's going to be judged to take the mark. Any coming over the top. But Sam Payer, important cog in this Werribee machine. Towards half forward, it's going to go over the head of Garoni in the path of Dalhouse. He'll get a second go at it. Hajang, his kick going wide. Still going to be to advantage though, although that advantage is gone. Preston was stripped to the footy, no call from the umpire. Here we go, 2-on-1 in favour of Werribee. Conway flew high, couldn't drag it down. He had a long way to come down. Here's Andrews. His kick inside 50 is a good one.
Wow.
And they eventually get that mark inside 50. De Clace will have the shot at goal.
That's a 10 out of 10 kick by Daly Andrews. It had to be absolutely perfect for Kai de Clace to take that mark. And now he's having a shot for goal. So ball use for Werribee at times has been excellent so far in this first quarter.
So in he comes. Chance at Werribee's third of the first quarter. And he's just pushed it out to the left. So they've had some opportunities, Werribee, this opening term. Harris to bring the footy back in. His kick is good. Joel Nathan's got it. He's got some runners alongside as this kick heads up towards centre wing. And that was almost a 2-on-1 situation, and well done there to Samson Ryan to make up the ground. And just waits for Coughlin just to get off him. Right near the Werribee interchange bench here at Avalon Airport Oval. Samson Ryan, very congested 50 here for the Tigers. Davidson again getting hands to it. Trying to bullock his way through is White for Werribee. The umpire will toss it up.
You don't often see guys of, we saw it last night with young Darcy for the Western Bulldogs, but guys of Samson Ryan's size who look really dangerous as a forward. I just love the way he presents, and he more often than not actually holds the mark.
Wilson's second and third efforts. Here's George now just putting a ball inside 50 more in hope than anything else. Coming straight back out, Pavlidis will kick up over the head there of Smith. Clash of bodies. George trying to extract it for Richmond, but now having to put the tackling pressure on. And you got to put it on Dombrou. You probably need 2 or 3 to try and bring him down. The skipper of last week's Victorian side. Jane, De Clace, White, Andrews as they get some run going now. Where we can see a path through, cuts through the middle of the ground. Out in the long lead was Payer. And he just slipped over at the crucial moment. Goes all the way back to Banks. Can take a run, keep going. He just goes with a short sort of dribbling kick to Davidson, who tried to give it back to Banks. Getting in the way is Keast. They've got the numbers here, the Tigers. The kick inside 50 is going to be turned over again. El Noor takes it, uncontested. Works it across to George, who's got an acre of space. He'll just decide to cut back into the middle of the grounds. Handball there from Clark. The outlet pass is a good one. Trying to find his way through is Johnson. Kicks up towards the one-on-one. Ryan, I think, was holding Coughlin. Yeah, that's what the umpire saw. So a free kick going the way of Werribee.
And Nick Coughlin decided to take the front space there and was duly rewarded. Well done.
Goes wider. Here's Jesse Clark. To that outer side, Henderson. They're just building nicely. Keast again. Half back, looks up. So there's plenty of one-on-ones. Yeah, they do have the outnumber, but El Noor's going to come forward. Almost took the mark. He had a good piece of it. Now he's going nowhere. We'll have it tossed up.
Yeah, but Richmond will be happy with that. They want Werribee to go on the slow play. They don't want Werribee to use their good foot skills and make the ground large. So well done, Richmond, in defending the ground there.
They certainly have slowed them down as Andrews puts this ball out of bounds on the full. And Jed Fennelly to bring the footy back into play here for Richmond from Old Zavarians.
Wow.
Kick across the ground isn't great. De Clace is there. Handball to a player in space. Dalhouse should finish. He does. Jay Dalhouse gets the job done, makes them pay for the error. And that is the third on the board for Werribee.
Well, a turnover goal. Young Fennelly, I think you called Peter. Probably with 25 minutes in the first quarter, you might just go the safe play and go down the line. Was it execution? Perhaps. Oh, well, definitely execution. But I just thought that was a dangerous play, and he might not have needed to do that. So Werribee are the sort of side that will capitalise on any mistake quickly.
Yeah.
And young Dalhouse, who's been in the play, young Jay Dalhouse, he's a pocket dynamo, isn't he?
I'm going to say, described as lively, would you say?
Yes, lively.
Certainly is inside 50.
He only played the one game last year, so I'd be interested to find out the reason behind that.
So is Brew now into the middle of the ground for Werribee. The kick again in the El Nor direction. Probably more than the Aidan Johnson's what they were looking for, but they've seemed to have spotted up El Nor more often than not. Wilson goes wide for Richmond. This ball falling to the back. Preston inside 50, long ball. Garoni. One grab, not the second. He was taken high, and Dalhouse thought for a second about playing on. And then knew that El Nor wasn't too far away. So a shot at goal coming up off the free kick. And in the safe hands here of Hudson Garoni, state squad member last week. Chance to add to his goal tally.
Yeah, but once again, off the back of a defensive 50 error from Richmond. I think that was Lachlan Wilson on that occasion. They've just got to make sure they hit their targets coming out of the back line, because Werribee will just make you pay every time.
6 goals for the season thus far for Hudson Garoni, and make that 7. So 4-2-26 plays 4 behinds as we head towards quarter time here at Avalon Airport Oval, round 3 of the Smithies VFL. For every game live on the AFL Live app and afl.com.au.
Stevie Morris will be a little disappointed because Werribee started so well. They kicked 2 goals in, say, the first 4 or 5 minutes, and now they've kicked 2 goals in quick succession towards the end of this quarter. However, Richmond, I think, were on top for the 15 or 20 minutes in between, so they didn't get any reward for their effort. Only 4 behinds on the scoreboard, so some good things for Richmond, but I think they'll be disappointed with the scoreboard.
Leading disposal winner on the ground, Nick Coughlin with 11, Kai de Clace with 9. Richmond, Brindley with 6 as ball back in the middle of the ground. Here's Lockie Street trying to get that footy out, but it's been turned over. Daly Andrews, kick inside 50 is another good one. Johnson, did the don't argue. Still managed to get that footy away. Here's Andrews, the kick going wide, looking for Garoni. Now with some work to do, but the boundary line will win out. They'll have it tossed in the forward pocket. They'd love another one here, Werribee, for the domination of possession that they've had. And field position, plenty of inside 50s in this opening quarter. So this ball to be tossed in. 28 minutes gone. Ryan working with Johnson, falling to the back. Fenley just going for distance here more than anything else. It's going to come straight back. Here's Cooper, who's got it, short of options, so just deciding to retreat. Pavlidis. Maluau into the middle of the ground. They've worked this out quite nicely, actually. Here's Brew. Not sure which way he wants to go. So he's just going to go wider here where there's a couple of numbers.
Smart kick.
There certainly was. Ashang has got it. Got to Clace alongside him. A couple of leading options. Just goes into the hole. Almost. And that is quarter time here at Werribee, and the home side. Strong performance in quarter number 1. 4-2-26.
Werribee 93 disposals to 73, and that difference is all in kicks. Werribee like to kick the ball. They're really proficient by foot, and Richmond have got to be able to defend that.
So take 2. Despite a local identity, just making his way into the grandstand, Mark Stone. One of the recruiters here. He'd say recruited all the good ones as Henderson's kick heading forward. And now a chance for White. Ball inside 50 again. Involves the initial pack. Here's El Nor being set a task. Was taken high by Garoni first time, but not the second time. The umpire says he'll throw it up. Interesting. Thought he copped one high as he went through to pick up the footy. With Johnson. Johnson's got front position. He's being held and he'll get a free kick.
And it might be a goal too, isn't it?
Are they going to pay advantage? They are. It's an advantage. So it's a goal. I didn't actually see who kicked that in the end. I was busy watching what Johnson was doing. It might be Angus Hicks who's come through to kick the goal. So advantage was taken, and all of a sudden they got their first to the second.
Well, it's an actual win to Aiden Johnson there, because he's, 10 to 15 centimetres shorter than big Sam Naismith, and he's been able to win the free directly in front of goal. And they took the advantage. Angus Hicks, the ex-Richmond player, and he's kicked Werribee's fifth. But one noticeable stat for me, Peter, is whilst Richmond have got some experienced ruckmen in there, they're just not winning the clearances. 13-6 to Werribee at the moment, despite the hit-outs being 13-5 Richmond. So they've got to start making use of the dominance of their big man in the middle.
So Naismith going up against Conway. Naismith getting the tap down. Streak trying to come through for Richmond. Just paddling it forward. You're seen. Dragged down just at the crucial moments. And this another stalemate. Holding the footy is the result. It is going to be a Richmond free kick when everyone else gets to their feet, including Daly Andrews. And Sammy Naismith to take it and go long right to the top of the goal square. They've got the mark. Best passage of play for the Tigers so far in the game. And they earn the shot at goal right at the top of the goal square. And Archie May, he's been lively in the opening quarter and a bit, the 23rd player. Now a chance to get on the goal sheet. Couple of steps, no problem. First goal for Richmond, coming at the 3-minute mark of the second quarter.
And that's a big win for Archie May, a contested mark in the goal square. But when you're competing against Nick Coughlin and Nathan Cooper, two experienced VFL defenders, then that's a big green tick for you, Archie May. Well done.
So an important one for Richmond just to give some sort of response.
Well, they've been in the game, haven't they? They just haven't been able to hit the scoreboard until then.
From old Bratton. In the middle, is this the team lifter? Oh no, here goes Daly Andrews. He's got plenty of space. He can keep running. He closes to 45. The kick is great!
Oh,
there's
wow.
your immediate response. Daly Andrews with a Smithy snag.
Well, it looked like a bit of a mongrel off the boot, didn't it? But it's gone straight through. But once again, Sam Naismith, hands to the ball. Looked like a lovely ruck tap out. But Daly Andrews able to waltz through the front of the stoppage there and kick a goal within 10 seconds.
How quick. You're right, I think that was under 10 seconds. From the tap down to the goal, and Andrews had so much space.
So now they're going to throw Noah Cumberland in the middle for a centre bounce here, and Lockie Street is in there with, I think it's Will Bravo.
So Cumberland goes straight to Daly Andrews. Plenty of bumping going on there. Naismith, Conway, split it between them. Street again, just trying to extract the footy, can't do so. Naismith might have been held. Yeah, he was. Free kick going the way of Richmond. Right in the middle of Avalon Airport Oval. Good to see the sun out too. Had a few overcast days. Bit of rain around. No problem today. As that kick goes short. Here's Sam Banks. He's going to get 50.
Oh, wow.
It was creeping over the mark again. They are red hot on that, the umpires.
Absolute red hot and Ronda, aren't they?
Yep, Angus Hicks, the infringer that time. So it goes from a proposition of, what are we going to? He's just been put back onto the mark. A chance to put them inside 50 to now almost a certainty in front of goal. Banks comes in and he gets the reply. His first of the afternoon and the second for the Tigers. of the Richmond variety.
So they've manufactured a couple goals, haven't they, Richmond? Mainly off the back of free kicks, but good ball used there by the big fella Sam Naismith to be able to hit up Sam Banks, who we mentioned was particularly quiet in that first quarter. But maybe that will just give him a bit of a boost, being able to get a cheap goal there.
And a little bit of a flurry of goals. We saw that in the opening quarter.
We've had 4 goals in 6 minutes already in this second quarter.
Conway getting the tap down. Andrews just shoveling that footy out, looking for DeClace, who's going absolutely nowhere. Mentioned 20 disposals last week in the state game for DeClace. That ball shoveled out, might have been thrown out there. It ended up in the hands of Andrews, in the path of White, who just lost his footing. I think he's got some teammates running alongside. Zhang will kick up towards Payer, who just drops his player in Nathan. I don't know he's sitting on him, but the boundary line will win out and we'll have it thrown in.
Big game today for Emmanuel Zhang. He's often been emergency for this side for a couple of years. Played a handful of games last year and he gets his opportunity again today, so just got to make the most of it. Started well in the first quarter with 6 disposals.
Yeah, something we don't talk too much about, the development of some of these Werribee players have been on the list for a little while. Here's DeClace, shaking, baking, has to go back. Brew, the player in question. But the development that they've been able to do with some of these younger players, here's another example of that, Maluau to Brew. He's got no one really to kick to, looking for some leading options. Just going to go long into the pocket. Falls to the back. Here's Nathan. His kick is going to be turned over again. Conway, juggling mark.
He doesn't look particularly confident in the air, Sam Conway. That's one thing he's really going to have to work on, to have an influence on the game with his marking, even if it's only 3 or 4 marks a game.
His opposing ruckman takes the mark there. Sam Naismith, kicked into the player in front of him. Had to push it the back on Garoni. The umpire didn't see it. Payer's brought down, saw a hold. It's going to be a Werribee free kick this time.
Just a little bit too ambitious for mine, Sam Naismith, a big ruckman. Just play within your ability, I reckon. Don't try and be too creative.
I'd say that the role of the ruckman has evolved somewhat, Dan, but you look at that bit of evidence. Man's got to know his limitations. Here's Sam Payer. Chance at the 7th here for Werribee. Kick going across the face. Doesn't have the trip, so it's escorted over the line. We should mention too, first home game for the new coach here at Werribee, Jimmy Allen, favourite son of the club. Gets the opportunity to coach the side back here at home for the first time. It's Chad Harris, stuck for options, told to get on with it by the umpire. So he's just going to go long. Conway is just going to get hands to a Coughlin. Aggressive as he moved that forward. Ridings works it to White. Preston throws up the high footy into the pocket. Payer got it! Oh, he did really well there. He was running towards the boundary line, had to look over his shoulder. That's a sensational mark, but he's on a tight angle. In he comes, around he goes. Can he finish it? I think he can, absolutely. He's kicked that. His first of the afternoon, and the Tigers of the Werribee variety putting the foot down here at Avalon Airport Oval.
Yeah, Sam Payer's development and improvement in the last 12 to 18 months has been really sharp. He's your sort of 2-goal-a-game player, 10 to 12 possessions, but that sort of grab there just defines how much he's improved. He's super competitive. He's a good target. Look, he's not a huge man in terms of his height, but he fits into this Werribee forward line beautifully, doesn't he?
Around the grounds. Good win for Williamstown, by the way. 17-10, 1-12 to Southport. 8-18-66 up the road at DSV Stadium. There's this ball back in the middle. One of a number of games being played in the Smithies VFL this afternoon. As Cumberland was brought down, dumped in a tackle. And Wilson going nowhere in a hurry. We'll have it tossed up.
So here you've got Samson Ryan, the big man, against a smaller ruckman in Aidan Johnson. Can they reap the benefit of the tall ruckman?
Got the tap down and the second effort. Here is Cumberland sending Richmond inside 50. Ball over the head of May. Working there, Davidson. He manages to keep the ball in the field of play. Did he? No. Boundary umpire on the spot says throw it in. Had the best angle of that one.
He's looked really lively, hasn't he, Sam Davidson? I know he spent a little bit of time off the ground as well, but every time the ball is in his area, he's competitive.
This ball into play. May doing the ruck work with Johnson. Eventually spills out through Brew's hands. And it's up here with Preston. Works there. Oh, it was dangerous. Keys just sold his teammate Brew into trouble. This one back inside 50. Heavy body work from Coulthard. There is a free kick. It is going Werribee's way. It was called by the trailing official.
Yeah. Look, it was probably there for Riley Bice. Coulthard coming over the top and chopping the arm.
So here is Riley Bice. To Johnson. To Coughlin. That kick is going to be turned over. It's almost as if he was looking there for Sam Banks. So his kick up the line. Johnson again. Safe hands to Clace. Roved it nicely. Dalhouse with a bit of work to do. Zhang there. Back to Dalhouse. That handball completely missed the target and it's been turned over. Here's Cumberland. Just shot the footy out. Trying to find some space. May is there now having to lay the tackle. Putting the defenders of Werribee under all sorts of pressure. I think George has caught one high. He has. It'll be a Richmond free kick. So Liam George, chance to have the third for Richmond.
Played his first game last week and had the 15 disposal, kicked a nice goal.
The Eastern Rangers.
Got a few tricks, as I said, in the first quarter. As Liam George, looks like, is that the third, potentially their third goal from free kicks? I think so. I don't think they really care how they're getting them at the moment, Richmond, just as long as they're reducing this gap.
The Eastern Rangers via Murrell Bark, and George has missed narrow. So Coughlin to bring the footy back into play. They've added 3 goals so far in this quarter. 2 goals for the Tigers. Extending their margin. This kick, Conway is the target. Ball off hands. Well done to Brew, though he's turned the footy over straight away. And El Nor met solidly. Managed to get the kick to Wilson. The kick to centre half forward's good. Davidson turned around. Go back and have the shot. We've seen a couple to the other end of the ground in the opening quarter where he just struggled to make the distance from here.
Yeah, so this is an interesting kick. He's about 55 metres from goal. There's an outnumber Werribee's way. The big ruckman sitting in the goal square just waiting for the ball to be kicked to him. So this will be an interesting kick from young Davidson.
Yeah, it'll be Archie May, the lone Tiger near the goal line. As Davidson gives it everything. He's given it plenty of distance to the line. Just not the accuracy. But he's closing in on one. He's giving himself plenty of opportunity.
So what's that? 3 or 4 shots on goal. He's getting his opportunities. Probably just not in the right spots, though, to convert. He's marking the ball 50, 55 metres out. Hopefully he gets a cheap one soon.
Naismith with the fist here. We'll have it tossed in.
I think this is his first game at the level too, Peter. Is that right for Sam Davidson?
Correct. Yep, making his VFL debut today.
He's really held his own against some experienced defenders so far.
This ball is tossed in. Naismith with that front position. Henderson wrapped up in the tackle. More your rolling maul sort of style. Almost kicking in danger there. Need to be careful. Naismith on the second effort. And the umpire will bring a stop to things. Nick Coghlan still leading the way disposals-wise. 15 so far for the game. De Clace with 11. Shang and Andrews with 9 apiece. All Werribee leading the way on the stats. 23-16. They're leading the inside 50 count as well. And the umpires waited an eternity. And this will be a free kick going the way of Werribee.
And for Richmond, you're looking at the bench here, Samson, Ryan, Coulthard and Judson Clark.
Riding to Andrews.
Looks like they're really managing the minutes of the Richmond AFL players at the moment. Clark only the one possession.
They need to look after them, considering the injury problems they have there at the minute. Here's Maluau. He can go across the ground. There's numbers to set up if he wants to switch. Deciding not to do that.
A little
bit around. Sally a bit of candy as well. And there's 3 Werribee players all lining up, one after the other. The first in line was Keast, who accepts the mark. And he goes long ball deep inside 50. Payer again. Off hands. The Tigers should be able to get some runs. Street should be able to be the link player. And now, it's turned over by Wilson. And copping one high there, Pavlidis. It was just the slightest of knocks, but it was there. Pavlidis goes wider, riding. The fist coming in. That's nicely done by Caleb Smith. And we'll have the ball tossed in.
Well defended that by Werribee. Richmond were trying to run and gun out of their defence there, but probably just overuse it by hands, and Werribee were able to pressure them into a mistake.
There's this ball to come back into play. Shang across to Andrews. And the former Seagull puts that ball out of bounds on the full.
Had plenty of it, has Daly Andrews, and kicked a nice goal and had some nice moments, but he has also turned the ball over a little bit, so I think that's one part of his game he's going to have to work on, is his efficiency by foot.
So Wilson in the back pocket, as long as he possibly can, to the tall timber, Ryan and Naismith. Conway getting in the way for Werribee. Here's Coghlan, gets that handball out, worked with White, and Maluau, kick inside 50. There's a shallow entry. Grintel trying to come forward. The fist there from Guinea. And we'll have it tossed in again. So just the continual attack happening here. Wave after wave from Werribee as we head towards time on in quarter number 2. So Conway getting the tap down, riding. Ridden into the back. Yeah, it's a push, said the umpire, and a little bit of push and shove as well. Just around this contest. Riding should pick up the ball. He wants to get on with it here. He should be looking to do just that. Oh, his kick was pulled. Interesting technique, that one. And no one can keep that in. Harry Grintel looking at, how did you kick that?
Yeah, but they'll need a hold up here, the Richmond defence. They are inexperienced. Some players that you wouldn't have heard much about in Guinea and Brindley and these sort of names, Fennelly. With the number of injuries at AFL level, you're not seeing experienced defenders out in the ground for Richmond.
Johnson was pushed off his kick. Naismith getting the handball out. Trying to find a way through. Smith doing a good job. Coulthard's kick over the top.
You're on here.
And he says they absolutely are. Yassine can take 2 bounces. He's just going to keep on going. No, he's going to kick it short to Ryan. Nicely done. They had him. You called it, Dan. And they get the results. Now just need the finish.
Yeah, and hats off to Mo Yassine, who I've seen a little bit of in the last 12 months. You never know what you're going to get with Mo Yassine, but that was perfect. He was able to pull his kick a little bit and hit the target. Sometimes his brain seems to be going almost quicker than his legs, if that makes any sense, Peter.
Yep.
But I'm really pleased for Mo Yassine to be able to hit that target there.
Meanwhile, Samson Ryan, his kick looks pretty good off the boots. A nice contingent of Richmond supporters here this afternoon. Ryan with his first of the afternoon. An important one into time on in quarter number 2. So 3 goals apiece. 3 goals 2 for Richmond and 3 goals 1 for Werribee. So they're winning the quarter by a point.
Well, what have we had? 10 scoring shots to 9. It's still a 21-point gap, but Richmond are right in the game. It's just they haven't converted as well as they would have liked. Samson Ryan's an interesting player for mine. He's still only 23 years of age. He's been in the system for some years now, and he's had AFL experience. I still feel he's got improvement in his game, and he might even be a better player in a couple of years.
Here's Brew running out of room, dragged out by Naismith. Well done from the big fella. Giving the Tigers a bit of a lift of the Richmond variety. He's just going to go long and high. Has it got the trip? It has, but not the accuracy. He's looking potentially for Samson Ryan.
It's been really prominent this quarter as Sam Naismith. Their big fellas are starting to work their way into the game now. We were a little critical at quarter time of some of their senior players, but even Noah Cumberland and Sam Banks having more of the football this quarter.
Ice to Cooper. The Little League is just warming up to the left of where this footy is right now.
That's the very Little League. They're about 3 or 4 years old.
They're having a great time. They're going to be on at half-time. Oh, Naismith thought he'd taken the mark. The Richmond bench thought he'd taken the mark. The crowd thought he'd taken the mark. The umpire said no.
That's all that matters, what the umpire thinks.
Conway just copying one in the bread basket at the back there. Oh, Naismith's fired up here. Found himself a little bit unlucky that he wasn't adjudged to have taken the mark 30 seconds ago. They collide again. Now, Nathan's kick back to Street, who's got it. His kick up towards half forward will fall to the back. This is potentially dangerous. Great tackling pressure from Yassine to force that ball over the line.
Yeah, look, Mo Yassine, you probably won't see him getting any more than 10 possessions. However, he's your prototypical Speedy Gonzalez forward, your pressure forward. From the Bashahuli Academy.
There's ball tapped down by Samson Ryan. Release there from Dom Brew. Again, takes 2 of them just to try and bring him down. They couldn't. Dalhouse. Get off the points. Werribee look to load up. Payer not much ahead here, so they need to create something. Ajang just pushed off his kick at the crucial moment. Great tackling pressure from the player who now has it in Smith, who's now taken over the line by Grintel and will have it tossed in. Again, just trying to get it to ground level. It's hard, tough stuff at the moment, stoppage after stoppage.
So, I'm not sure if you noticed that, but the 2 ruckmen actually started in the centre square on a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, saw that a bit yesterday too at Marvel Stadium. They had to come a long way forward, and that really only works when they're running in a straight line. But when they're grappling with one another, they tend to miss it. And they let it drop so low. Chance for the players around him to run onto the footy.
Oh,
well done, Brew. Oh, no, what's the call from the umpire? It's going to be a free kick going to Werribee. Brew was off there, probably wanted to take the advantage, just keep going. Yeah, the short option is Angus Hicks, but that's been ignored. Goes even shorter to Henderson. And the switch is on. Clark. A short ball. Hicks does eventually get on the end of one, but he's about 20 metres away from where he was initially when he was leading out. High ball, Garoni is double teams. The pressure again from the Werribee forwards. Grintel trying to lock that footy in. It's going nowhere in a hurry, and the umpire will come in. Good tackling pressure from Brindley.
Yeah, they set up really well behind the ball there, Richmond.
So it's Garoni doing the ruck work against Ryan. George. Well, his teammate into all sorts of trouble in Bravo. And they've copped it up. Riding. High ball. White trying to create the contest. Buffeted off it was Banks. And this ball spills free. Wilson. Oh, had it taken off him. Henderson trying to paddle it forward. Works back to Andrews, who's 50 from goal. Spearing pass. Oh, Nor again. Like a brick wall down there for Richmond. He works it wide. Another attack repelled. Coulthard's got it in the back pocket.
Yeah, it's a special skill that he's got, Mutaz Al-Noor, able to just read the kick into the 50. Intercept markers these days are worth their weight in gold, aren't they?
Cooper couldn't complete the mark, but ball was headed in the Pavlidis direction. Over tossed in. Closing in on half-time. The margin an even 20 points. It was 22 at quarter time. After the domination of Werribee. So in the opening term, similar sort of pattern where Richmond were able to fight their way back. Again, starting a long way back. Ryan notionally with that tap down. Hicks might have caught one high. George just taken off the footy. Andrews trying to bullock his way through. In the end, it's Wilson at the bottom of the pack for Richmond. We'll have it tossed up.
Yeah, whenever the game looks like it's going to escape them, Richmond have been able to turn the game into a bit of a dogfight, so credit to them.
Ryan. In the hands of Wilson. Hayes off a step. White with front position. Into the path of Riding. He's just going to track the ball. De Clace was trying to help him, but Riding, he had a single-minded focus to get hands to the ball and to get it away as quickly as possible. Great tackling pressure again from Nathan. Superb. As Werribee were out on that side, and Hudson Garoni was brought down.
Yeah, really like their games. Young Nathan and Brindley, these types who have been in the system at the VFL level for a few years, but now they're the main guys today. They really have to stand up as key defenders.
Plenty to talk about. The VFL listed players, there's plenty of them for Richmond this afternoon. A handful of AFL listed players in the lineup. And to all of their injury worries that they've had. I think I count 7 AFL listed players out there for the Richmond VFL team. Henderson, now Brew. Working back, is that an injury to Clark?
Yeah, he's not looking too good, is Judson Clark. Let's see what happened. He's hobbling over to the bench now.
Here's Jesse Clark, whose kick finds Hayes. Caught in two minds, needs to go wide. Nice little clunk from De Clace. Man on the mark is positioned at 50. He's kicked towards the pocket. Payer didn't realise he had a good piece of that. Dragged down in the tackle. Nice work from Fennelly. And Richmond should be away here. Oh, fumble though by Nathan. Right near the line, we'll have it tossed in.
Yeah, he's really ginger, is Judson Clark. We see him going in with a physio, walking towards the Richmond rooms. Listeners at home, Richmond supporters must be slapping their thighs again. Another AFL player who may cop an unfortunate injury here.
He's going under his own steam, but very slowly hobbling. And now the push and shove continues here. It's just been building as this quarter has gone along. Zhang, Naismith involved, Johnson as well. The free kicks to Lockie Wilson. The umpire should tell him to get on with it so we can break up the little scuffle there. Nathan, short kick to half back. Harrison White's got it. El-Noor. All short kicking to try and clear the area. Brindley. Short kick, and this may come unstuck. Mark not taken. And the Tigers, well, they had to be careful. Keast was brought down in the tackle. El-Noor trying to extract. Hailing of taxis. And unfortunately, I think Angus Hicks is going to be pinged.
Yeah, but they have looked really shaky coming out of their back 50 of Richmond. Their 3 goals have come almost out of the back of centre clearance and not from their back half. And here we go again, another turnover.
Yeah, drop short, and Bruce taking the mark. As Zhang's in the middle of the ground, all on his own. Longer is Payer. Instead going to go wider, looking for Dalhouse, who then needed to create the contest, but just a little bit too crude over the top as he crash lands over the top of Tom Brindley. Brindley will take the free kick. So almost 31 minutes gone in this second quarter. Not long to go now until half-time. A lot of goals have been kicked in this quarter. Brew, Wilson with the tackling duties. And we'll have it balled up.
And just an update on Judson Clark. He has gone into the room and just come back out again. He looks a little bit better than he did when he walked in originally, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, he's heading towards the bench. He's doing some run-throughs now. And looking better, as you say. Kick up towards half forward. There's a holding free kick. It'll go to Samson Ryan. So Richmond maybe with one last opportunity. That throw didn't really hit the mark. Is that going to be 50? No. So Ryan. Probably want to get it moving reasonably quickly. Here's Smith. Just got to get it moving because I think they're going to run out of time.
They want him to get it in there, give him an opportunity.
Long, high ball all the way to the back. And that may be the final score of quarter number 2. 19 points is the margin here at Avalon Airport Oval. The Smithies VFL. Every game, the Smithies VFL and Rebel VFLW. AFL.com.au and via the AFL app. Here they go, Ajang to Maluau, who's got an acre of space. No one inside 50, so Cooper White's going to have to run it. He can steady from 45 and make them pay. No, so close. We'll see how they run it through the middle. You were talking about that, Dan, in the opening quarter.
We call it the Werribee Express. We've seen so many Werribee games over the years, and their ability to just get the ball from one end to the other from a kick-in within a matter of seconds.
Here's Caleb Smith. And kick going long, off hands. Up being towards the middle of the field, and plenty of time and room for Cumberland's. Kick up to centre half forward, but plenty of Werribee numbers at the fall of the footy. They still need to be clean though, and this potentially dangerous. You've seen 360 tackle. They still managed to get the footy away. Ajang across here to Andrews. Now to Clace. Now they can get some run going. Although it looks up, doesn't see other ball he likes. Payer back to Andrews, whose kick up towards half forward. Here's Garoni. Wants to get it moving quickly. Little dribbling ball inside 50. Hicks, who's the player of the top? It's Dalhouse. Pushed off his kick at the crucial moment. It's still off heads. Keast will kick the goal. It wasn't clean, but it was effective. And Keast right on the stroke of half-time. An important goal for Werribee. Now, there are whistles going off everywhere. Is it going to be a blood rule coming our way here? Yep, absolutely is. Lachlan Wilson of Richmond coming towards the bench here.
It's probably a little stiff in that contest was Noah Cumberland. For those who are watching the game on afl.com.au, he felt he may have been pushed in the back there, and he pleaded his case to the umpire.
Meanwhile, Judson Clark still doing some run-throughs and working with the physio. I suspect he won't be reappearing until quarter number 3, a 34-minute quarter. Boy, we have some long quarters in this competition. Plenty of goals, though. 4 for the Tigers, 3 for Richmond. I underline how important that goal is for Werribee, because Richmond were mounting a charge, but in the end,
you'd probably want a little bit more AFL players at the moment, but I will say their second quarter was a little bit better than their first, particularly the big ruckman here, Sam Naismith.
And away we go in at quarter number 3. The Street putting the ball up towards half full, but plenty of Werribee numbers to Clace, working with Andrews, who'll go by hand to Brew. Over the top, finds Hayes, whose kick up the line is a good one. All the way up the ground is Payer. Mutaz El-Noor standing the mark.
That's what you're going to have to do with Mutaz El-Noor, is make him work and make him defend. He just wants to zone off and take the intercept mark. So well done, Sam Payer.
Hicks caught at the back here. Fenley found a teammate who was able to get the kick away. Here is El Noor. The Tigers again, for Werribee variety in their hands as Brew. Oh, nice again from Federley. Nice little ride there over the top. Banks will go wide and they'll just be able to settle things down. It may only be temporary for Harris. It didn't find its target on the full, but Street's there. So the captain works into the middle of the ground. Olden, who's got an outlier, and they've run the footy nicely here, the Tigers, to centre wing. Yassine got hands to it for Richmond, now laying the tackle. And good pressure from the Tigers. A nice build-up for Richmond that time.
You probably don't want Mo Yassine to be your marking player in deep 50. He's probably about 5'3", maybe a little taller perhaps. But
there's a player down here, Dan. Is it that player Yassine? I'm not sure. I can't tell from this angle, from our commentary position. It looks to be in a bit of trouble. Is it an ankle? It certainly appears that way, or a sort of calf. It is, in fact, it is Yassine. He's in a little bit of trouble here. Must have been just as he's landed and was wrapped up in the tackle. So he's going to be hobbling off in the hands of the physios. And this is always awkward, isn't it, Dan? Because no medical cart to take him from the ground, and just trying not to apply some weight to that right leg.
So maybe just an update with Judson Clark. We see him here on the bench again, about to walk in the rooms. He's walking, but he's a little ginger, so the injury doesn't look, shall we say, devastating, but it looks to be enough just to keep him off the ground at the moment. So that's Judson Clark, who was injured late in that second quarter, and now, unfortunately, Mo Yassine has injured his lower leg, it looks like.
Down a couple on the bench here for Richmond as Maluau trying to get through some traffic. Grintel, handball over the top. As Yassine gets a nice round of applause from the Richmond faithful in front of us. Harris around the body, trying to work in close quarters though. And the umpire will call a stop to that as Yassine slowly makes his way into the rooms where he'll say hello to Judson Clark, who's also in there now. So down 2 on the bench, Richmond, in this third quarter. Banks, free kick, will go back to Grintel. Been a throw out. The umpire calling there. Short, wide, and Henderson. Bice, whose kick's going wrong up the line. Conway got hands to it. Working around is Finley. And that's nice work again from the Werribee players on that outer side. We'll have it tossed in.
Just in terms of some of the halftime stats, we saw in the number of disposals, Werribee 60 plus in terms of 189 to 129 to Richmond. Probably doesn't reflect that Richmond aren't getting their hands on the ball. They are a minimalist side, aren't they? They don't tend to overuse it, whereas Werribee like to kick and chip and charge.
So to Clace. It's hard and tough stuff in there. Naismith on hands and knees as Henderson just sends that ball back inside 50, a shallow 50. Wilson eventually picked it up for Richmond. Johnson there as well. So they work it from one side of the ground to the other. And safe hands. George has got it. Called to play on. It's dangerous though. Coming through is Cooper White affecting the contest. Back in Werribee hands. Payer back inside 50. El Noor and George back to El Noor, wrapped up by White. Good contest, and the umpire will throw it up.
Well, that'll come with experience for Liam George. Watching him play against the Swans last week, he had some really good moments, but he also had a couple of clanger moments like that. So, once again, coming out of defensive 50, they look a little bit nervous, Richmond.
Here is Naismith. His kick up the line again will fall into Werribee hands. And the umpire will come in and toss it up. Conway. Alden brought down. And another stoppage here. Andrews. Now, what happened there? Did it slip high? The umpire right in front of me saying, yeah, just got a little bit over the top.
And this is the other stat. Domination from hit-outs by Richmond, their big ruckman, Naismith and Ryan, but they were unable to win the clearance. Werribee was so far ahead of them in that first half.
Henderson made to earn that mark. And he goes long. Here's White and Riding, now having to lay the tackle. The umpire will call a stop to that. So the sun makes its another welcome appearance. 19 degrees here in Werribee this afternoon. Perfect day for football.
And a really nice VFL crowd here. A smattering of Richmond supporters and local Werribee supporters.
As Street just looks to clear the area. Coughlin creating the contest, couldn't complete the mark. Who's going to come away with it? It's Preston. Worked it back. Maluau just forced back. Now needs to go forward. He'll go back to his teammate. And they work beautifully because there's plenty of players free on this outer side of the ground. Here is Pavlidis. Managed to find his teammate in Bice, who kicks up inside 50. Ball over the pack. Here's Smith. And Richmond should be able to clear to our broadcast side. Guinea. We'll look up and see. Not too many free options. So he won't go short. He'll just go long to the pack. And May has caught two out there, but they've still got the numbers from the fall of the footy. May getting the handball over the top. George to run onto it. Here is Davidson as well, forced to lay the tackle. May getting back in there. And the umpire will toss it up.
He's really competitive in the air, is Archie May. I know he's only had the 2 disposals, but he took that wonderful mark in the goal square in the second quarter to kick a goal.
Well, it just gives him options, doesn't he? He can pinch hit in the ruck and help Sammy Naismith out, and then go forward and just create that target. And this ball going absolutely nowhere. Cam Olden was not releasing his grip, and still not releasing his grip. And Don Brew will get back to his feet now that he's been allowed to. As this ball, George is in all sorts of trouble, but probably a little bit lucky.
I think more than a little bit lucky, Peter. I think he had an opportunity to create some play there.
And now there's going to be an over-the-shoulder free kick. It'll go Richmond's way. So Naismith to take it, and he'll send them long. Inside 50, high ball, Ryan! First grab, not the second. Maluau did well, just had the time. And Keast gets onto it, and they go wide up, and here is De Clace. Up the line, finds Corey Preston. Former Seagull on the 45 to Nick Hayes. Hayes could go further afield to Keast here if he wants to. The switch is on. Cooper just punches the ball to Maluau. And into the middle of the ground they go. Preston again. They've got the runners. Hayes works it through the middle. Pavlidis. This kick heading up towards half forward, and Grintel on the long lead takes the mark. Wants to get it moving quickly. He wants to go long. It's 2-on-1 in favour of Richmond. Ball falls to the back, and they have got the numbers. And Garoni was hopelessly outnumbered on that occasion. Here's Davidson. High ball for Richmond. 2-on-1 this time in favour of Werribee. Went through the hands of Conway and gobbled up here by May, who kicks to a vacant 50 metres. Where's that ball pitching? In the crowds. Free kick to Werribee at halfback.
It's a really defensive game here. Quite low scoring now. Have we seen a score in this quarter? I'm not sure if we have.
We have not.
We have not, and we're 10 minutes in, so both sides putting numbers behind the ball. So you've got to be really careful and considerate with your ball movement.
So Hayes. Oh, the kick too far there for Cooper White. And both players really struggling. In fact, White has taken a little while to get to his feet. He is struggling big time. Here's Preston in the middle of the ground. Well done, Ajang, trying to pick up this footy. He's ridden into the turf by Olden. And another bit more push and shove. I think Cooper White's okay, though. just see him in the back.
Yeah. Caleb Smith just cannoned into him, and even Caleb Smith's a little bit ginger after the contest.
Ball heading forward for Werribee. Zhang laying the solid tackle. Umpire waited for an eternity, got the result. Johnson of Werribee this time. Hicks shot it out. Henderson to Brew. Off a step, inside 50. Trying to find Dalhouse. The bounce evades him, and we'll have it tossed in.
So really obvious that Richmond are trying to turn this just into a contest. At every contest, the game has turned into a little bit of a negative affair. Richmond playing numbers behind the ball, just wanting to ensure that Werribee don't switch the ball at every opportunity.
Ryan just pushes off Garoni, immediately wrapped up in the tackle, managed to get it away. The ball into the middle of the ground, White sending it there. It's going to come straight back. Well, they might go backwards to go forwards. Jesse Clark gets it back again. Actually looked up and said, right, I'm pretty much going the wrong direction. Here's Preston. Long ball.
Oh, well done.
Drop short, yeah. Absolutely. Nicely done by Austin Johnson.
That's a big win for Austin Johnson against an experienced body in Kyder Clays.
Straight up to half forward, Davison. One grab, not the second. Preston brought down in the Wilson tackle. And we'll have it tossed up. As Nick Guinea makes his way to the bench. Coming on, Jed Fenley.
Oh.
Well, that's some nice elevation from Samson Ryan. Just didn't come down with the footy. Ajang. DeClace through his hands. Wilson managed to shoot the handball out. Richmond with an opportunity. Ryan just goes with a low ball. He spots up the captain of Werribee in Coughlin. And they are away through the middle of the ground. Bice. There's a slingshot, and away they go. Brew over the top. Here's Dalhouse, who's got an acre of space. He's got time to steady. His kick long's not going to find the target. It's going to be turned over again. And Nathan takes the mark.
Yeah, just a poor decision there by Dalhouse. He had a 2-on-1 against him and kicked it straight to the opposition.
Bravo has got the mark here at half-back. Davidson, leading option. He's up the ground now is Austin Johnson. His kick, that's a solid mark by Noah Cumberland. Oh, he might have just caught one there. He did. He's feeling a little worse for wear. It was a great mark under pressure.
Yeah, I get the feeling that if Richmond are going to get themselves into a winning position, it's got to be someone like Noah Cumberland who creates something out of nothing. He's that sort of player. He's what you would call mercurial. And that mark was an example of that.
So let's see what he can do. He's dusted himself off. 55 he'll be kicking this from. Be a real team lifter if he can kick it. He's certainly got the trip. That's not the accuracy. And that is the first score of the second half. 14 minutes into this third quarter. So we went from sort of a high scoring affair to half time to virtually nothing. So Coughlin goes that long ball in the DeClace direction. Hopping onto it again is Cumberland, right near the boundary line. Pops up a high ball. Coughlin again. And now to Keast. Werribee looking to go. This kick into the middle of the ground. This could be the problem. Riding, front position, just got hands to it. Oh, big tackle on Feneley by Aiden Johnson. Oh, that was hard and tough. Little bone rattler, that one. Right in front of us.
Got to be really careful, don't you, with those sling tackles, but I think he got his way through that, Aiden Johnson.
Banks running through, kick to centre half forward is superb. And they can reload here again. Richmond, Archie May's got it. Looks up. He's just going to have to go with a wider option. And this is okay because Judson Clark, in good news for Richmond fans, is on the ground. Copped a bit of a knock in that second quarter. He went to the rooms, started off the third quarter in the rooms. And now he's back on the ground. You can see the bandaging on that right leg. A chance here to apply the pressure to Werribee. Midway through this third quarter. On the left, given it plenty. He's fallen over in the process, but he's kicked the goal.
Oh, hang on. What's happened here?
Now he's hurt himself again. He gave it absolutely everything, and now he's going to be hobbling from the grounds. He kicked the footy, I think, Dan, and then as he came down, he fell over. He actually just fell to the ground, and he is feeling it big time now.
Yeah, he's wincing with pain, isn't he? So...
Oh, he's so disappointed. He came back on, they tried it, he was working with the physios. Now he's down having a chat with the doctor, Judson Clark. It was a hell of a kick, though. Got to give him credit for that. But
great kick. And I was about to say that Richmond have had so many shots from goal from around 45 to 55 metres out. They just can't get it into that, say, hot spot where they can attract a key forward to take a big catch. But,
oh dear.
Poor kid.
Yeah, Judson Clark going straight to the rooms again. I think that might be his day done as Roo trying to come through. Second and third efforts. Onto the path of a Jang, but getting their Guinea first. A good job for Richmond. He puts the ball across the ground into the path of Banks. Takes the mark. Banks kick a ball inside 50. It's going to drop short. It'll end up in the hands of May. Oh, he took on the tackler in Coughlin, lost the footy. Here's Maluau. Works it back out. Pavlidis. His kick looking for a Zhang, ridden into his back, no call from the umpire. Extraction work required. And Maluau actually got it in the end. And the umpire's whistle just a fraction quick for him. And Will Bravo just to hold up that footy for the Tigers, number 70 there. Well, that should be high. No call from the umpire again, another stalemate.
Yeah, they're right in this game now, Richmond. They're just so competitive now at the stoppages.
I don't think Yassine has returned from the rooms either, Dan, so they might still be two down on the bench, Richmond.
As we speak, guess who's walked out?
Okay. Still hobbling a bit.
Little bit ginger, but fortunately doesn't look like crutches or anything like that, so... And he's actually doing some run-through, so that might be good news.
Now, the free kick here for Werribee out of all of that. Daly Andrews takes it. He's kicked for the path of his former Seagulls teammates in Preston. It's not good, and it'll be thrown in. Just looking at your scene here, just chatting to the doctor, trying to do some run-throughs, but he can't get up to a gallop. Can barely get to a walk at the moment. So, all tossed in. Conway front position that time. In the path here of Cumberland. He just dropped the footy. Now he just shoveled it out. That should be a throw. It will be. The umpire's seen it. I think most of the crowd could see it as well, to be fair. And Jesse Clark to take the free kick. Just told to get back around on the mark, Jesse Clark. Allows Preston to find some room. He takes that mark. Kick long, looking for DeClace. Had his arms chopped, so he'll take that free kick. I think his kick's just very theatrical as he went to grounds.
There's no real pace in the game, though, is there, Peter? It's a very stop-start, stoppage game, short kicks, but on the back of Richmond really trying to defend at every opportunity.
Kicks to Preston, as you've seen now sitting in the dugout for Richmond. This ball to Jesse Clark. Short kick, dangerous, but okay. Pavlidis. They'll work it into the middle of the ground here, Werribee. Preston again, kick inside 50. Putting up the hands was Payer that time. He can't keep this footy in. Great defensive work by Tom Brindley, one of those players you identified in the second quarter, Dan.
Yeah, young man from Greensboro. He's a little ungainly, gangly type, but he's able to get his fist in just at the right time. Quite often, is young Brindley.
Always good quality stock coming out of Greensboro too, I'll tell you, Dan. Mighty Greensboro Football Club. Like the footy getting underway the last couple of weeks.
So what are we, 20 minutes into this third quarter, Peter? Werribee haven't scored at all.
1-1 for Richmond. It's a low-scoring quarter, no doubt about that, as DeClace was taken over the line. But it has been a lot of stoppage footy. No one really able to get away. They're doing well to hold their own, but they're just not able to apply that pressure on the scoreboard.
So you look at, this is a stoppage for about 55 metres out from Werribee's goal. Both sides got a man behind the ball.
As this ball heads towards the boundary line. Uh-oh. Nope, thrown in. Well, there was no one there.
Kai de Claes thought he had a free kick then.
He was racing towards it. He's still got his hands up saying, come on. We've seen a lot worse calls than that one. Naismith trying to get that front position. Andrews is there with the roving. De Claes, Zhang, Conway, lost a handle on the footy. Street on hands and knees. Working hard there is Olden. First and second efforts. Off a step is Bravo. Just sends it forward for Richmond. The big fist coming in nicely by Pavlidis. And we'll have this ball tossed in.
Yeah, well done to Richmond's blue-collar midfield. Cam Olden, who's been around this system for some time and has managed to find his way into the midfield, more midfield minutes. As we know, Lockie Street, the captain for the third year in a row. He's a street fighter from Frankston YCW.
Handy when that's in your name. It's the ball here with Naismith. Zhang. Do the mopping up work, twisting, turning. He's got numbers here as this kick goes towards the boundary line. Trying to get in first and second grab by Smith. Nicely taken. So Caleb Smith looks up. Now called to play on. He's desperate to try and smother that footy. Kick to Ryan. He's going to be paid that. Nice reach. We've seen a couple of opportunities for Samson Ryan. Right, good job that one to clunk that. And this is an important kick, 22 and a half minutes into the third quarter. Kick to goal in the second term. This one he'll have to kick from 52 metres out. No breeze to speak of, as I mentioned today. Let's see if he can get the trip. He'll give it everything. Samson Ryan. The kick going high. Oh, yes, he's got it. No problem at all. 2 goals to Samson Ryan. And they reduce this margin further here. Interesting. 23 minutes gone. No score to Werribee in this third term. And a couple of goals to the to Richmond.
So first, Judson Clark. And then from an almost identical spot, Samson Ryan. Kick goals from just outside 50. And it's now a 13-point deficit here. So Richmond right in this game. As we said, they've just done it on the back of their blue-collar midfield. They're just turning it into a contest as often as they can, playing to their strengths. And you feel like their goals are probably going to be manufactured or contested, but they want to turn it into that sort of game.
Now the ball to ground, trying to handball out is Olden. Worked in the middle, here's Street. He overran the footy. Wilson might have been taken around the neck, got the handball away. Guinea will go wider. And Richmond just enjoying a nice period of possession and control of the game. Here's Johnson. His kick inside 50. Dangerous. May got hands to it. Has to do the follow-up work and lay the tackle. And see that ball to the boundary line. Nathan Cooper there as well. Just a bit of pressure being applied here to this Werribee side.
Well, ever since they got off to that fast start in the first quarter, Richmond have really knuckled down and just made it hard for Werribee since then.
White going without the footy. Wilson, ditto. Find a way through is Harrison White this time for Richmond. Coulthard's going right to the top of the goal square. And Coughlin to mop up. Kick finds Andrews. They can't get that fast run happening through the middle of the ground because there's no one there. They're going to have to switch here, Werribee. And they're going to take their time doing it. Jesse Clark has it for Werribee, the home side. Ball over the head of Maluau. And Street's going to send it straight back in for Richmond. Another inside 50 coming up. High ball, long ball. May. Oh, he had it. He had the opportunity. He couldn't finish it off. Here's Bice. Handball across to Jesse Clark. Little short chipping ball is okay. Finds Pavlidis. So they go from that outer side to the commentary side. White's got it. His kick. Keith just leaves it for Payer. He has to come up the ground. His natural habitat of being inside attacking 50. The kick for a Jang. He almost got it. Picked up by Keith. He's right near the boundary line. Tackling pressure by Banks. Jang slammed over the line. Good contest again. Nice work from Nick Guinea. And we'll have it tossed in.
Yeah, haven't they been competitive? Guinea and Fennelly, these sort of guys who you probably don't know much about. But when you come in as one of Stephen Morris's football teams, you're going to have to work hard, and that they have, some of these Richmond defenders.
They've dug in nicely, haven't they? Jang, De Clace, under pressure. Henderson, half forward kick. Johnson, the front position. The fist coming at the back from Fennelly. Trying to work his way through. How did he get rid of that football? There's this kick. Inside 50, mark not taken, riding, taken high by Al Noor. Umpire says that was fair, and we'll have it tossed up. In fact, it was Dalhouse who kicked that ball, put himself into trouble right near the boundary line. Players of similar height and similar hair, and there is a free kick for a hold. It's going Werribee's way.
So that's the second time that he's done that today, Samson Ryan. Deep in defence in front of goal, and his much smaller opponent in Aidan Johnson is going to have a shot for goal. He's protesting his case to the umpire.
206 centimetres, Samson Ryan. Aidan Johnson, 193 centimetres.
Yeah, so Samson Ryan's effectively saying, he's blocking my run.
But what's Johnson supposed to do?
Well,
you get that front position, and the kick here, well, that's going to hurt. Werribee's first score of the third quarter coming 27 and a half minutes in, and the first goal for Aidan Johnson. It's an interesting one, though. When you do have that height differential, you're stuck for options.
You are, but I just think Samson Ryan on that occasion just needed to be a little less obvious there. He cannoned into him. He probably just needed to pull back a little. And particularly late into a quarter when the opposition hasn't scored, it would have been a really nice win for the for Richmond to have Werribee not scoring for the quarter. But they've got a much-needed goal, Werribee, and they're out to a 19-point lead.
The margin was 26 at half-time. So they're making some ground up, Richmond. They're close enough. No doubt about that. Done a good job of stopping Werribee in this quarter, but that one would be disappointing after all of their hard work as Will Bravo is held up here. And the umpire will come in and toss it up. Naismith to ground, Bice, good kick. Finds Grintel, and they get some run going now. They can. De Clace needs to get his kick away. He does. It's short. And finds Hicks. He kicked a goal in the second quarter. Now, De Clace is saying, give it back to me. I want a better angle here. It's exactly what he does. And he'll go short. And this is Bice, who will have a few steps. A kick from inside 50. That's not bad. It's superb. And you just felt that was coming. So deep into red time, a couple of handy goals here for Werribee, and they almost restore their half-time lead.
Maybe that was a lack of awareness or a lack of knowledge there on Riley Bice's capabilities by the Richmond defence, because he's the sort of player, I guess if you compare to maybe AFL level, a Jaden Short or is it Farrell at Port Adelaide, he's the sort of guy that you can just give him a shot from 50 to 55 and you know he's going to have the leg. Lovely kick is Riley Bice.
Former GWS Giant via Albury, part of the Mark Stone Footy Factory, the recruiter here at Werribee, just spying him down there in the dugouts.
Does he have a holiday house in the Riverina? Because how many players have Werribee got from Albury?
Plenty.
Yeah, similar areas.
He says he only picks the good ones, does Mark Stone. He's done a good job of that over the years. Here is Johnson, kick inside 50. Riding takes the mark.
Aidan Johnson is one of those guys He played in the Lavington Premiership with Sean Manor a few years back. Sean Manor now plying his trade with Geelong. He used to own this oval, did Sean Manor.
Oh, did he ever?
Gee whiz, we saw some games from him in the last few years where he'd have high possession numbers, kick bags of 4 and 5 goals.
Good to see him getting that AFL opportunity. Just shows that still get that opportunity no matter what age. Riding from 49 outs off targets. So lead restored back to where it was at half time. So for all the hard graft that Richmond's put in here, they look at the scoreboard and see that not much has changed really. A low scorer for both teams. 31 minutes gone. Again, an abnormally long quarter. The fact we've had so few goals, not that many stoppages, no more than usual anyway, Olden.
I'm really enjoying this contest between Austin Johnson and Kai de Clays. Johnson's a big body wingman, comes from Cheltenham, averaging 21 possessions in his first 2 games this year out of the Des Ryan footy factory there at Cheltenham.
That's a volley.
Who was an ex-Tiger, an ex-Richmond Tiger.
There's factories happening all over the place.
There's factories in Albury, there's factories in Richmond.
Good primary industry stuff going on there. We'll ponder that at 3/4 time. Werribee restoring their lead from half-time. 10-5-65, Richmond 5. The thoughts of Van Winkle in a second, but let's get this final quarter underway. Can Richmond turn this around? There were some good signs in that third quarter. Now undermanned with Judson Clark off the ground with a leg injury. They will get the first inside 50 though as Johnson. There's a bit of holding going on. And just been impressed with Sam Davidson on debut for Richmond today. His kick inside 50 through the hands of Ryan. Should be able to clear through Bice. Werribee all the way up to centre wing. Came off El Noor. Payer now wrapped up in the tackle. And he's going absolutely nowhere. How do you think this final quarter is going to play out?
Well, I just think Richmond are going to have to manufacture some goals. Samson Ryan had an opportunity there. I feel like he's probably going to take a couple of clunks. Can Noah Cumberland weave his magic? I just think their avenues to goal are a little bit limited. So that's the big question mark. How can they kick a score to win this game?
Here's Aiden Johnson. Kicked a goal in that third quarter off a free kick. Really set Werribee back to where they were. Been well held today has Hudson Garoni. De Clace trying to paddle it forward. We'll have it tossed in. So interesting runs coming for both of these teams. Just sort of looking ahead. Werribee have got GWS at home next week. Then Williamstown away. Carlton at home before the bye. Richmond next week will have the bye. Then they've got Casey at home. Coburg at home. Footscray at home. And then Sandringham away. So some important games coming up for both of these teams. Andrews took one high. No call from the umpire. Johnson. That's Austin Johnson playing for Richmond. De Clace wrapped up. Had plenty of time. The umpire's going to try and unpick all of this. No one's going anywhere in a hurry. Naismith just goes along the ground. Davidson. His kick is going to be partially intercepted. I think Coulthard might have been held. He was. In fact, it's going the other way. Dropping the ball, the umpire said. Pavlidis goes across the ground to Henderson. Henderson going wide. Try and find a player in space. It's Hicks. Had a lot more time and he realised it too, but that kick is not great. Went over the head of White. And it will be a free kick out of bounds on the full to Chad Harris.
Yeah, only the 4 touches for Matt Coulthard today. And a couple of free kicks against, so hasn't been his day yet.
Oh, and it's been turned over. A terrible error. And it's Harrison Grintel who's got it and will have the shot directly in front.
That's probably the third occasion a similar intercept has occurred with Richmond being really nervous coming out of their back 50. In a low-scoring game, you just can't afford to have those errors and give away cheap goals or cheap opportunities on goal.
So in he comes. Grintel hasn't kicked a goal today. And he still hasn't. First score of the final term, 3 minutes in. Still looks like Richmond are playing with just the 3 on the bench. Not only Judson Clark with some problems, but Mohamed Yassin also struggling with an injury in that third quarter. And spied him out there. So they are down a couple, Richmond, in this final term. And that's going to be paid a mark out there to Maluau, who's going to be hobbling a little bit himself there to coming down in that contest, worse for wear. Well, he assesses his options. Johnson is across the ground and does find him. Had to be pinpointed, was. Now, needs to find something inside 50. Garoni's going to come from 3 back. DeClase was there. Grintel, Garoni, Andrews. Kick is short and Street's going to take the intercept mark. So the skipper of this Richmond VFL side goes wider, 2-on-1, and now 3-on-1 in favour of Werribee, and Jesse Clark's got the mark.
Wasn't a great option there by Lockie Street. I thought he just could have been a little bit more patient, found the right option.
To Bice. To Hayes. To Andrews. Short kick. The order of the day for Werribee at the moment. They really have been slowed. Their run has been slowed this afternoon. Goes to Coughlin. Kicks a high, deep ball. Payer just tapping it down. And at the back, Brindley to clear the area. Good job, Fayan Davidson. He was impressed on debut for this Richmond VFL side. His kick in towards centre half back and fell to Smith. They're trying to get some run going. They might through Harris. Handball over the top, wasn't really looking where he was going. El Noor's in all sorts of trouble. Was actually shepherded off the footy. Now he's got a chance to pick it up. He's wrapped up by Andrews, and the umpire will come in and toss it up.
I don't mind the intent there from Richmond. I like them changing the angles. They executed well with that last kick outside of defensive 50. They're 27 points down. They've got to take the game on now.
Johnson. Tap down there by Andrews. Fell to El Noor. To Johnson. That's Austin Johnson. Around the body. Dangerous footy. Just eluded Davidson. Maluau. Numbers here with the Tigers. May only be temporary though. Getting there May to put the hand up and just cause a little bit of havoc. And now laying the tackle. That is superb. He's done some good things today, Archie May. As you mentioned, Dan, he hasn't racked up the disposals, but he's done some nice things up forward.
He gets into good position. He hasn't quite taken the grabs when he's been in that position, though. So just got to finish off his good body positioning.
Andrews. It's going absolutely nowhere. Wrapped up, holding the footy as the results. So, a bit of reward for effort there, you'd like to think, for Archie May. 23rd player today for Richmond. The kick, long and high. Samson Ryan not really with a run at it. Trying to work hard there is Liam George. He ran back into the tackle. Really had nowhere to go. The umpire will come in and toss it up.
It's one thing you can't question about this team is their defensive pursuits and their intent, Richmond.
Work his way through. Almost there from Cumberland. Just one to get him going. Margin back to where we were at three-quarter time. 26 points.
But as I said, it is a player like Cumberland who you feel has just got to pull a rabbit out of a hat here for Richmond to get them back into this game.
The kick just outside the 50 by side. Did well to get through traffic. And then Maluau fumbled at the crucial moment. Turned the footy over. Harris. Ball here's Cumberland again. Kick inside 50 is good. And this time Samson Ryan clutches it. They want to get going reasonably quickly here. Needing 5 goals without reply to win the game. So Samson Ryan, a goal in the second quarter, a goal in the third quarter. And this one to bring the margin back to 20 points. And give Richmond some hope in this final term. The kick is good. 3 to Samson Ryan. Margin 20 points.
And probably the first goal they've got today, Richmond, through an easy, lower your eyes, hit up a forward kick into the 50. They haven't been able to do that due to the pressure of Werribee, their ability to get numbers behind the ball. So well done. Most of their goals today, they've only kicked 6. They've got a couple from free kicks, and Samson Ryan and Archie May have taken some clunks, but that was the first one where they were just able to use the ball really well coming into their forward 50.
Judson Clark is back from the rooms, but he's not going to play any further part in the contest. He's just sitting next to the doctors and the physios on the bench, and plenty of bandaging now around that leg. Here's DeClace. Just lost a handle on it. Luckily, Preston was there, looking for riding. Getting in the way is Caleb Smith, and we'll have the ball tossed in.
Just looking at the numbers at three-quarter time in terms of disposals, 100 more disposals, Werribee to Richmond. It says more about their game style, though, as opposed to their domination in the game. They are a high possession side, Werribee.
To sprint towards that throw-in. Ridings to Henderson. Inside 50. Now Payer's going to be on the end of this if he can get the footy. Garoni's trying to get it to him. Now wrapped up. 2 tacklers. Had to beat that time. Couldn't. We'll have it tossed up.
He was nearly on then, wasn't he, for the goal? 2 Richmond defenders going to ground.
Ryan doing the ruck work for Richmond. Garoni. He's had a quiet day, but every time he's gone near the footy, he's had 2 Richmond defenders to contend with. Having said that, I think it's about 10 different goal kickers Werribee have had this afternoon. All singles as Ryan to the back. DeClace looking to add his name to the list. Puts it out of bounds on the full. So Joel Nathan. Kick short dangerously. DeClace. Henderson. Oh, this will hurt if he's able to kick it. It's
touch off the boot.
Touched anyway.
Wow.
That's why they were following it through. There wasn't really any sort of urgency on the goal line.
I just wonder how Steve Morris will address this during the week. They have had a number of clangers deep in their defensive 50. Do they just play a little safer, or do they keep taking the game on?
Cumberland's. Long kick, great clunk by Tom Brindley. And off we go. Here goes Banks. Can take a bounce on centre wing. Outside the boot, El Noor takes the mark. Needs to get to his feet quickly because there's a couple of options inside 50. Didn't pick the best one. He had to go slipscatch style, did Samson Ryan. He wasn't in pole position for that, but made up a hell of a lot of ground and had to get nice and low. And thoroughly earned that mark. Chance at number 4 here.
Sam Banks getting the high fives. He's just come off the ground for a rest. I just wonder if with some of their players, Coulthard spent so much time on the bench, and so has Banks. You've got obviously an injury as well to Judson Clark. So are they just maybe putting some of their key players on ice, even though there is an opportunity to win a game of footy?
Samson Ryan kicks another one. Oh, it's starting to get interesting now. He's 4th of the day. And that margin continues to reduce. 12 minutes into the final quarter.
And that Sam Banks kick coming into the 50 then, because it was an unusual kick, it was well executed, but sometimes you've got to mix up the kicks a little bit and not be so obvious, and I think he confused the Werribee defence with that sort of check side kick around his body. It was well done by Sam Banks.
The inside 50 is 51-37, but Richmond gaining on that stat. Coughlin 24 disposals, DeClace 24 disposals, and Henderson 22, leading the way, or leading all comers in this game. Werribee dominating the possession, as you heard from Dan. Wilson with 16 for Richmond as ball back in the middle. Now things start to get a hell of a lot more interesting as Zhang worked it back east into the middle of the ground, didn't find its targets, bobbling around. Someone needs to get hands to it. Olden might have dragged this in. He did drag it in. He's going to be pinged holding the footy. And Dom Brew to take the free kick. And they just can't go quickly. It's credit to Richmond. They've been able to slow it down. Bice goes wide. Finds Preston. Kick inside 50. Johnson. Couldn't quite finish it off. George trying to find a way through. Handball across to White. Kick up the line is good.
Ryan here.
Coulthard. Ryan on his bike to take that mark. Not much happening inside. So he's going to need to go. Oh no, that's good awareness by the defence of the Tigers. DeClace goes short, finds Preston. I think he was sensible there. I think it was Coughlin who did the smothering work. This ball partially smothered as well. Wilson lost a handle on it for Richmond. El Noor going back in to try and pick up the footy, working against Preston. And the umpire will toss it up. There really wasn't a hell of a lot ahead, though, of Samson Ryan.
No, he probably should have just come back off his mark, weighed up his opportunities. But he's had some Benny Hill moments today. He's kicked 4 goals, but gee whiz, that would have been handy just if they could have got another one there.
Holden ridden into the turf. Everyone dusts themselves off. And midway through this final quarter, it's just Richmond with control, but as we've seen in the first 3 quarters, Werribee just have this knack of being able to kick that momentum stopper in terms of a goal against the run of play. So they did a couple of times in quarters 2 and 3. Wilson, ball through hands. Nice handball out by White. Eventually ends up with Guinea. And they go back in again.
Here we go.
Harris, high kick, long kick. The tall timber couldn't pick it up. Here's Cumberland, was pushed forward. Umpire said no problem. Keast. He's got teammates alongside. One of those was Cooper. It's right near the boundary line. And Richmond managed to lock it in again as Jesse Clark was taken over the line.
Here we saw May and Samson Ryan in the goal square. They were closed down by the Werribee defenders. So well done by Werribee to make that to make the ball hit the ground there. Well done.
Ryan, in front position that on that occasion. Ball going absolutely nowhere.
Just feel like they've got some momentum here, Richmond.
They certainly do. They're making it count on the scoreboard as well. Keast held up in the Alden tackle. As again get to their feet, you suspect it's going to be another 30-minute quarter. They all are in the Smithies VFL. Wilson, touch ball. Coughlin needs to be clean. And again, the pressure immense. Every contest, the scrutiny on it now as the margin is closing here at Avalon Airport Oval. So wait for this ball to be tossed back in. As Noah Cumberland sits down. And the captain, like he's straight back on. Naismith grabbing it out of the ruck. Needs to find an option. He eventually throws it on the boot. High ball, Ryan. Couldn't take the mark. Ball to the back through Brew's hands. Keast held up in the tackle by the captain of Richmond, and the umpire will come in and toss it up.
Yeah, Sam Conway, the big ruckman for Werribee, starting to tire. Can Naismith get on top in this last 10 minutes?
Ryan again with the tap down. Preston, Coughlin, clearing the area temporarily. DeClace taken off the footy by Davidson. Wilson, they're getting something going here. Alden works it back out. George twisting and turning. Needs to find an option. A high ball. They come flying in. Front positions that mark going to be paid. It is Coughlin. Through the pack. How did he end up with that one?
Yeah, he often stands up in big moments. Does Nick Coughlin saw a number of games over the last few years here where when it's got really tight, he stood up and he's the captain of this team.
So Hicks looks up. Doesn't see much on offer that he likes. But you're going to find Kai DeClace, put it in his area and he'll do the rest. Slowing things down, directing traffic. 2 goals in this final quarter. Werribee have kicked 2 behinds as they work it from one side of the ground to the other. And this ball into the path of white over his head, but Keast is there. Can he keep it in before the boundary line? And then again by Street to just force the pressure, the inferred pressure coming there. So on centre wing, big contests, all of these. Looks like Aiden Johnson going to contest this ruck contest with Sam Naismith. Naismith just with the body work there, found himself in some space. Pavlidis dragged down in the tackle. He was set upon. The umpire straight in there.
Big half for Richmond in terms of clearance numbers. They were behind at half time, 25-15. It's almost even now. Well done to the Tigers midfield.
Had to work hard to do it. Holden lost a handle on the footy. Right. Head front position. Austin Johnson. And now they come in again, another stoppage. Really need another goal pretty quickly, you'd have to say here, Dan, Richmond.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to do something a little bit different.
Oh, Wilson just threw the ball out there.
I don't think Werribee mind this continual stoppage game.
Zhang brought down. That's holding the footy and advantage. Alden, but can he take it? He was legged. It's play on anyway. White lays the tackle on Bravo. Is that ball eventually released? It's not. It's locked in. The umpire will toss it up. Well, the intent was there to keep going.
I don't mind that by Olden just taking the game on. It didn't work, but when you're 15 points behind with maybe 6 or 7 game minutes on the clock, go for it.
So ball here on the path of Smith. He lost a handle on it. Dalhouse lost a handle on it. Andrews just trying to hack it forward. El Noor needs to be clean. He's under pressure. He's near the line. Dalhouse bumped over by El Noor, and now it's on right near the interchange benches. Bit of push and shove. The Werribee players not liking that treatment from Mutaz El Noor, and he's being told all about it. It will be a free kick to Dalhouse, being pulled out by the umpire. And really, Jay Dalhouse should just get on with it here, clear the area.
Isn't it amazing how many skirmishes take place in front of an interchange bench? Players seem to get tougher, don't they? I just don't understand that.
Not knowing they can run off the ground straight onto the bench. Here's Bice being held up. Short kick, Andrews. Into time on now in this final quarter. 2 goals, 1 for Richmond. 2 behinds for Werribee. Just kicked the 2 goals since half time as the home side. Clearing ball by Caleb Smith. Andrews just trying to work Johnston under the footy. He will take the free kick. Austin Johnson. Been impressed with him today, Dan, his game. There's the kick up towards half forward and Coughlin.
Cool and composed. Their captain, Nick Coughlin.
So he'll just go back up the line. Andrews fly from over the top by Conway, and Keast runs out of room. And as you said, this will suit Werribee, these repeat stoppages in centre wing. Time continuing to tick down.
I'd go for the hack kick here if I was Richmond, in the middle of the ground. Try something different, open the ground up a bit.
Cumberland was trying to come through. Zhang now wrapping up Wilson in the tackle. And another stoppage. Stoppage after stoppage. I reckon there's about 10 minutes left in the game, have to say. Streets. Brew just wrapping him up. You're not going to get away there, Lockie. No chance.
2 street fighters, Street and Don Brew. Big bodies.
Naismith. Johnson lost a handle on it. Here is the long kick coming in from DeClace. The fall ball by Caleb Smith. Now they work into the middle of the ground. They can get something going. There's a long ball. Fennerly. Oh, that kick's a good one. It's just going to be held up. Cumberland's need to get something going. They need the next goal, and quickly. Told to play on. Kick inside 50. He's going to fall into plenty of Tigers of the Werribee variety. And this ball to Henderson. Got the receive from Pavlidis. Kick to a 2-on-1 in favour of Richmond. Ball falls to the back. Here's Smith. Can they get going again? Into the middle of the ground they go. This is a good kick. Bravo, who can go for a run. He's going to go long. He's going to go high. May flying over the top. George the Rover needs to pick up the footy. Brew wrapping him up. He lost a handle on it. Ball eventually spilling free. Here he is again, Coughlin. Oh, it's a lovely kick. And a great option too. He goes to Keast, who goes longer. Garoni over the top to Andrews. There's no one inside Werribee's forward 50 now. A couple drop forward. Head of the contest as one of the Richmond players gone down. Sort of back play here as Brew goes longer and goes wider. Working here is Pavlidis, who's been good today. Hayes has plenty of space. The kick to the lead payer. He couldn't take it. Now the turnover is on. Here's Harris. He's turned it over. Terrible mistake. Pavlidis takes the mark. Work across the ground. Maluau on the 45. Again, not the best of options. Cumberland providing the contest. Brew running into the tackle. Eventually got rid of it. He was taken a little bit high, Davidson. No call from the umpire. They're letting it go. It's good to see. As Dalhouse to Henderson. The kick not great. That is out of bounds on the full.
I'll play the Benny Hill music the last few minutes, Peter.
I'll tell you, there's a few nervous Werribee people around. Don't worry about that. And then you do that as the
what's happening now?
It's gone straight to Hudson Garoni. That is the worst possible error you could make. He strolled in and kicked the goal. Oh, my goodness.
Was that Joel Nathan there, I think, Peter?
He kicked it straight to Hudson Garoni in front of him. Hudson Garoni had no one on him, and he just slotted the easiest goal of his career. My goodness me.
Yeah, I think the word that stands out is polish for me, particularly in their back 50. They've been so brave defensively, some of these Richmond defenders, but with ball in hand, a little bit nervous. And of the 11 goals Werribee have scored today, I'd say 4 or 5, maybe even 6 have come off the back of defensive errors. And we weren't expecting that one, were we? That came out of nowhere.
Well, I think the crowd didn't realise either. I thought it was he kicked to the wrong direction. What's going on? It was just an error. Conway the tap down. Brew wrapped up in the Cumberland tackle. DeClace fumbled. Still managed to get the handball away. Off to Preston. Work it back. Pavlidis kicks up the line. Oh, going back to the flight. Nice. Sam Banks. Well, if they're going to respond, they need to respond quickly. 25 minutes in, they've just turned over the footy again.
Yeah, some of their experienced players, Cumberland and now Banks with turnovers, just basic errors.
Brew to Riding. And now he's just going to go with a soak up as much time as possible, really. Garoni caught at the back. Davidson, Elnor.
It's better.
Yeah, clears wider. Here's May. 23rd player, Archie May. Not much happening up ahead, though, for Richmond. So the kick's going to go long. It's going to be turned over again. Coughlin all on his own. And he'll just soak up some more time and wind down this clock.
Yeah, 3-on-1 back there. They got numbers back, Werribee, and Samson Ryan starting to move like a pregnant yak. He's very tired. He's had a big day. He's had a couple of moments as well.
Riley Bice, what a recruit Riley Bice has been to this Werribee setup. Mark Stone Footy Factory working beautifully.
He's got a holiday house on the Riverina, has Mark Stone.
The kick goes long. Payer taken away from him over the line. It just shows that we're going to go 3 and zip to start off the season. They're looking particularly good again. Strength all over the ground. Not too many on the injury list. Roy Pinnock, probably the major concern.
Well, they've got a full quota today. Still 5 on the bench, have Werribee.
To 3 for Richmond in these final stages as Preston now riding. They'll go wider.
Well done.
Half there of Pavlidis. It was front on contact, so they'll take the free kick.
Again.
Coming across, nicely done Banks. Looks up and doesn't see a hell of a lot of yellow jumpers. In fact, sees the opposite numbers. And Clyde DeClace will take an easy mark at halfback.
Yeah, just the lack of method and composure they've had in this last 15 minutes, Richmond coming into 50. They've just kicked it away every time and been picked off. by the Werribee defence.
So the kick is short. Here is Dalhouse. Goes wider. Back to the captain, Tobias. Let's see if they find some room on the broadcast side. Making a hell of a lot of ground here is Henderson. Deserve that mark. His kick up over the top. There's your siren. Strong performance by the Werribee Tigers. The Battle of the Tiger. And they come out on top. And they win that pretty comfortably in the end. There were a couple of Richmond's flurries of goals. But in the end, it is a margin that they'd be pretty happy with, Dan Winkle, you'd have to say. 11-7-73, Richmond 7-10-52.
Well, it was an extremely competitive game. One thing about this Richmond team, yes, they're down on soldiers, but they're not down on effort. Stevie Morris, his coaching philosophy almost centres around the way that he played as a footballer, and that is